Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Miami. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Challenge North America, City Bikes Veneto, the Challenge Athletes Foundation, Florida Dairy Farmers, and Wahoo, our next guest, Mr. Ben Hoffman, daddy of two. How fun is that?
That's it, man. It's pretty exciting times. Yeah, we welcomed little Julian Rule Hoffman into the world a few days ago. Yeah, he's only a couple weeks old, so brand new baby. And yeah, it feels a little weird to be leaving for a race so quickly after, my second child's birth, but the opportunities have been few and far between, so trying to take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, with COVID, we had Daytona, and that was like about it.
Right.
And what did you take away from the Daytona race?
Well, I mean, what I took away was that, it was actually a really honest race. I think on paper you kind of looked at it and thought, well, this is going to be pancake flat. Even with a 20-meter draft rule, you kind of wondered whether it would really, test the athletes.
Right.
In the end, it really did. I mean, I thought it was
kicked a lot of ass.
it was a pretty honest race. And physically, I didn't have a great day. I felt a little bit off. I had some cramping, and I just didn't have a great day. But I think my takeaway was that I wish that I had prepared a little bit better for it. And then given myself mentally maybe a little bit more of a chance, because I think I kind of wrote myself off as a contender. And looking back now, I think if I would have put together a day that I think I'm capable of, I might have been in the mix a little bit more. So I kind of took that attitude to this one, and I feel much more prepared and definitely excited to race.
What I liked about that race, even though it was close to a half, it really played out like an ITU race. When you look at the gaps, I think it was like 2.5 minutes from first to 10th.
Yeah, it was extremely tight.
It was so tight.
Yeah.
Really with 20-meter draft rule, so it wasn't like people were sitting on each other.
Right, and there was a lot of dynamics you saw in the run too. So it wasn't something where it just was over basically after the bike ride or something, and that was decided. No, you saw guys run through from quite a ways back, like Matt Hansen, and and just other battles that were going on.
Lionel ran up too.
Exactly.
A lot of guys who were back.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and I think hopefully we'll see something similar tomorrow when we race. I think it'll be, obviously there's a great field here. You never know how everyone's training is gone, but I think just on paper you look at it and say we've got a really strong field, and the course itself is pretty exciting. I think it's definitely
so different, right?
Yeah, I was out there this morning. We did a little ride and a run, and yeah, I mean there's some wind up. It's not even as windy as it is now. It's definitely even windier, and this is closer to race time now. But some wind, some chicanes out there. It's going to test the riders a little bit more even than Daytona did, I think, and should be a nice, honest course.
Oh, it's funny because I think it'll be, when you first think of the Speedway, you're going, okay, this is a power person's course. And then when you add in the backside of this with different pavement, curves, turns, wind, it becomes, okay, this is a bike handler's course. You got to be a bike handler, you got to have power, you got to be able to crit, almost like ITU crit style racing.
Exactly, yeah. No, I think people that are comfortable doing group rides and those kind of surgy efforts are going to probably excel on a course like this. I mean, I think you will have to, at least on one spot, be out of the saddle probably after one of the sharper 180s that we do. And yeah, it's just going to be, I think it's going to be kind of an interesting shifting dynamic throughout the bike where, you have some attacks and different kind of moves that people make at different points. And so being able to respond to that over and over again, and then also run well on a relatively long run for, the bike distance.
Considering,
Yeah, so I think that, should be pretty interesting. And again, I feel prepared. I mean, I don't know, this probably isn't my distance on paper, but I feel good. And, maybe I'm just riding the wave of being a new dad again, or a dad again, and, brand new baby. But I feel ready. I feel prepared, and again, excited to race. I see it as a great opportunity.
Well, the great opportunity is the fact that you've been running so well, and this is a 10-mile run connected to a 30. Not that your bike is weak by any stretch of imagination, but having a 10-mile run after what we think will be a pretty fair bike ride is a good thing for you.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've definitely had some good feedback in the last, few races, Daytona aside, but I think my running's improved and gotten to a level now where I have a lot of confidence in it, and I've had some workouts leading up to this race that I think indicate that I'm in a good spot running-wise. So, yeah, if I can go out there and execute, what the day that I'm capable of, I think, it should put me in there.
Ryan Bolton's been doing his camp down in Tucson, and you've got Sam Long down there, and Caroline Rotich, and obviously yourself, and Heather Jackson. Having all these different athletes, some straight runners, some triathletes, some shorter distance, some longer distance, that's got to be pretty fun because you spend a lot of time training with the same people, and then some new people come into town.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, you look at Ryan's history in coaching, and definitely he started out with the Harambe project, and that the idea behind that is that you get a lot out of training with other people,
right?
And creating that group dynamic and feeding off of each other, and it's one of my favorite times of the year when we all kind of get together like that and push the boundaries a little bit. So it's great to have him in town, and then of course, just having him for the one-on-one runs too, where he's out there watching me, pacing me on the bike, and just kind of I guess offering whatever feedback that he can to kind of help me improve and continue to grow as an athlete. But yeah, it's really, really fun, man. It's definitely a good time. And I think I'm excited for Heather Jackson too. I know she's been working on her swim primarily, but I think, her run, whether she even knows it or not, has come a long way too under Ryan's tutelage. And so I think I'm excited to watch her race on tomorrow, I guess, Friday, yeah.
It was funny because I was talking to Heather and Waddy and just saying, listen, I saw what Ryan was doing with Ben. And it is a process, because everybody knew that what Ben was doing in training and what he was doing in racing didn't go together for a while. Right? And then all of a sudden, you start running the 230s, and you're back up there in Kona, and the run became the weapon. Absolutely. That you knew it was going to become.
Definitely.
And so you see that for Heather as well.
Yeah, and so I mean, it may be a bit early again,
right.
But it's one of those things where the training's there, and it doesn't always show. I mean, I remember having a couple of good runs early on with him, but to have it fully develop and come together, took a little while, and you have to have that patience, I think, with any kind of development as an athlete. But once it clicks, it really clicks, and I feel like I have that in my back pocket now, something that I can rely on, and actually really look forward to more than ever, of course, getting off the bike and really attacking that run. So it's cool. It's cool to, and that was the original reason I went to Ryan, really, was that I kind of looked at my weaknesses as an athlete, and I thought, I'm a fairly balanced athlete, but when I look at what's required to win the big races, typically it does, come down to the run and having a really strong run. And so, I recruited Ryan and thought, well, I mean, if there's a guy that I think that can take me to that next level on the run, it's probably him. And, and now we're there, which is pretty cool.
It was funny. I was talking to Sam Long the other day, and that's got to be fun too. You got some guy in with a big engine, some 24-year-old guy with a big engine who just wants to go all day.
That's true.
And watching his maturation, because it was a couple of years ago he was doing 5-6 Ironmans a year, and I'm just going to keep racing, dude. But watching him and getting to see that next generation coming up, it's got to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, with Sam too, I actually, not everyone knows the story, but I reached out to him in 2018, and I was preparing for Kona, and I thought, well, it'd be great to have a sparring partner. And I'd seen this kid up in Boulder on a couple group rides, and I'd heard his name, seen him in the pool, and I thought, well, this might be the guy. And I literally called him up at the airport and said, hey, I know this is out of left field, but what do you think about coming down to Tucson and doing some training? And as it turned out, I had a stress fracture literally day one when he showed up. So he ended up doing all the training, and I had to sit on the couch and watch him.
Oh, my God.
But he ended up having a great race in Louisville.
Yes.
Came second to, I think, Chris Leiferman. And, and I think that was kind of a breakthrough moment for him. Started working with Ryan shortly after that. But I mean, it's really cool to see these young guys, the energy they have. And, I try to tell Sam and some of the other guys too, really enjoy this time. I think they're looking to us and saying, you guys are established, you have the sponsors, you've been in the game, you've had the results. But, I look back, and that time is so special because, you're trying to make your way, and it's a struggle, but it's also really, it's simple. The times are really good. You don't have as many responsibilities, and
you're living in a motorhome. You're living in a motorhome. You're living in a van.
The pressure isn't quite the same. I mean, we always put pressure on ourselves, but it's a special time. And so, I mean, that's kind of always the thing I try to remind these guys, that it's not always the next thing. It's not always trying to get to where, the older guard is. It's enjoying the time and where you are too. So it always takes me back when I get to spend time with these guys and train with them. And I remember when I was in my mid-20s too.
Remember when I didn't have any sponsors and I was eating Cliff Bars for dinner, and that was good. When you look at the fact that you're a dad of two and balancing everything, how difficult is that just to continue the balance? And this last year when we had no racing, does it make you more appreciative of the sport and being able to race? Because sometimes we can take it for granted.
I think, I mean, a few things happened last year for me, and let me first say too that when it comes to the parenting side, I mean, I have to give a huge shout out to Kelsey, because the truth is that, you know, I'm able to stay pretty focused on my job, and, you know, I get to enjoy a lot of time with my family through the career we have. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think the harder work and some of the more difficult moments are things that are kind of falling on Kelsey's shoulders, and she has really stepped up big. So that's huge. And yeah, it makes my life and my job a lot easier. But as far as last year goes, I mean, I think initially coming off a big year where I had a big performance in Kona, followed it up with a good race in Florida.
Phenomenal
yeah,
race.
I mean, I definitely was riding a wave, but then I think when COVID first hit, I wasn't actually devastated or concerned. I mean, I was kind of looking at it more like, well, we just had a baby in September. This is a chance for me to spend more time with my family. And, but as the year kind of drug on and things went longer and longer, I definitely, I've come to that place now where, like you said, it's this gratitude and appreciation for the races and having them back on, and realizing too that I'm 37 now, and although I'm at a, you know, probably a prime point in my career and hopefully the best point, it's a really finite window, and I'm not going to be doing this forever. And so, you know, I really, I am super appreciative to have these events, and I think having such a dearth of them last year really makes the ones that are here now that much more special. And and that's where my mindset is now, where I've kind of shifted back to like truly hungry and ready to, you know, get after it this year.
The other thing positive that came out of 2020 was the PTO.
Absolutely.
And what they've done in terms of the prize money for Challenge Daytona, the awareness of the pros, maternity leave for the women pros, the Collins Cup, which will be coming up next August, and with not knowing what races are happening, knowing hopefully that Collins Cup will be happening. Talk a little bit about, because you've been involved with PTO pretty much from the beginning. Talk a little about the fact that they have stepped up in really tough times.
I mean, I'm tremendously appreciative, and I think, you know, for a lot of athletes out there, there's no question that they may have had to walk away or, you know, hang it up or whatever last year if the PTO wouldn't have stepped in and provided the resources that they did and the opportunities for racing that they did. And I mean, to be kind of at the forefront of this, I mean, I know there's been people working in the background for years, you know, to get this off the ground, but, you know, to be around and to witness the start of something, which I think, you know, hopefully will only continue to build over time, is really special. And the intention, you know, is there. I mean, definitely to grow our sport, to take care of the professionals, to really showcase what we're doing out there. It's all really, really cool stuff to be part of. So, yeah, I'm tremendously grateful. I know, you know, everyone else that I've ever talked to about it is, and it's exciting, man. I mean, I think the only way is up from here, and you know, I'm excited to give energy to it and to continue to promote it and to see where we go with it, because we have an incredible opportunity now. And really, it just comes down to the professionals staying unified and kind of working together, you know, to make it the most it can be.
Well, and at the end of the day, you're not really, you're racing these guys, but at the same time, you're all rowing in the same way. You know, you want the sport to grow, and it doesn't grow unless you guys work together.
Exactly. And I think, you know, shifting that mentality where, you know, we're a bunch of rats fighting over one little Cheeto, to maybe something that's a little more equitable, and you know, having that mindset is really important. And I think we're gradually getting there, and I think it is. It's something where you can still have, you know, the superstars of the sport, but that doesn't mean that the guy that's in 200th place has to, you know, make absolutely nothing, or have no opportunity. So, that's what we're working towards, and I think it's, you know, already off to a great start.
It is.
But, you know, the sky's the limit, and I'm excited to see where we go.
Love it. Hey, best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Always fun to watch you race.
Yeah, thanks,
The
Bob.
Hoff on a racetrack. Who knew?
I mean, it's funny. I posted a photo today of Ironman Wisconsin, and, you know, I've had the race flags in my brand for a long time now, with Kelsey's family coming from the auto racing background. But, you know, until Daytona, I hadn't really ever been on the Speedway on my bike or anything like that. So, yeah, it's exciting to see this, like, new, you know, kind of wave of races.
Question.
And, I'm going to go out there and see if I can get that checkered flag.
I love it. Ben Hoffman has been our guest, everybody. This, again, is Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Miami. Hold on. We will be right back.